pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Notice requirements of the New Jersey Public Meetings Law have been satisfied by forwarding a news release to the Asbury Park Press on December 20th, 2014, stating that a regular meeting of the ToCN Township Committee will be held on September 30th, 2015 at 7:30 p.m. Town Hall. The notice requirements have been posted on the Township website and copies on file in the office of the Township Clerk.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Deputy Mayor Ordo.
Here.
Mayor Mangle.
Here.
Mayor Fitzgerald.
Here.
Mayor McNair.
Here.
Mayor Johnson.
Here. You see a new face at our table. I'd like to introduce our new business administrator, Kathleen Capristo. She comes to us with a combination of both private sector, corporate experience of many years, and then took a little time off from that and started a family. So the most important job that she has, and then that we all have, and then some public sector works both in Jamesburg and most recently in Spring Lake. So we're happy to have her here. She started just a few days ago. We've had many meetings in those few days, and welcome.
Thank you.
Item number approval of minutes for the meeting of September 9, 2015. Any questions or comments from the committee?
So moved. Second.
Roll call, please.
Deputy Mayor Ordo.
Yes.
Mayor Mangle.
Yes.
Mayor Fitzgerald.
Yes.
Mayor McNair.
Yes.
Mayor Johnson.
Yes. I have two proclamations that I'm happy to share tonight, both brought to us by our wonderful ToCN Women's Club. So I'd like to read both of those, and then anybody from the Women's Club that would like to comment on that, I would love you to do that. The first one is Mental Illness Awareness Week from October 4th to 10th, 2015 within the Township of ToCN. Whereas mental illness is a term used for a group of disorders causing severe disturbances of thinking, feeling, and relating, and whereas mental illness can affect persons of any age, sex, race, religion, social, and economic background, and during the course of any given year, 5.5 million Americans are disabled by severe mental illness, and nearly 2/3 of all people with diagnosable mental disorders do not seek treatment because of stigma, ignorance, and lack of appropriate service and treatment options, and whereas mental illness impacts 1 in 4 individuals. Now, therefore, I, James C. Shapson, Mayor of the Township of ToCN, together with the entire ToCN Township Committee, do hereby recognize and proclaim the week of October 4th through 10th as Mental Illness Awareness Week within the Township of ToCN. I had the privilege of attending a seminar that the Women's Club put on at our library not so long ago, and just wonderful awareness, and they brought a group of people together, both elected officials from local level and state level, some mental health professionals to speak about some of the services that are around, and really to bring exactly what we talked about, some awareness to this, so we can increase both from a law perspective and from just a neighbor perspective. This is a situation that probably touched lots of people that we know, and we want to make sure that we just continue to go down the road that the Women's Club has started to keep this project going. So I appreciate that. Diana, anything you'd like to add to that?
I just would like to say that even though we didn't have 60 people attending the seminar, the people that did attend benefited so much by what we talked about and from the camaraderie from the group, because everybody shared a story and the problems that they have in dealing with this really serious issue.
Thank you very much. The next proclamation is also very timely and appropriate to discuss, and all of these, or many of these subjects that we talk about are just tough to talk about, so it's important that we bring awareness to them. Another Mayor's Proclamation, Domestic Violence Awareness Month, October 2015, within the Township of Colts Neck. Whereas domestic violence remains a devastating public health crisis where 1 in 4 women will be physically or sexually assaulted by a partner at some point in her lifetime, and whereas individuals of every race, gender, and background face domestic violence, and children exposed to domestic violence, whether victims or witnesses, are at higher risk for failure in school, emotional disorders, substance abuse, and violent behavior later in their life. And whereas ending domestic violence requires an effort involving every part of our society, we must work to protect survivors, bring offenders to justice, and change attitudes that support such violence. That now, therefore, myself as Mayor of the Township of Colts Neck, with my full Township Committee, do hereby recognize and proclaim the month of October 2015 as Domestic Violence Awareness Month within the Township of Colts Neck, recognizing the tremendous progress made in reducing domestic violence and recommending to make everyone's home a safe place for them. From our, once again, our Women's Club, who let us know about both of these proclamations that we were happy to provide. We also, in support, wanted to wear purple. I just happened to buy a new outfit not long ago that had a purple headliner, so I was really thrilled about the memo of that, and my fellow committeemen have helping with that. So if you'd be kind enough to come and receive these proclamations from me, I do appreciate all the work you do for us. That one. That one. Excellent. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Mayor Shackle, can I just add?
Please do.
That every 9 minutes, a woman, not a man, not a child, a woman is abused in this country.
There's a long way to go, and all the progress we've made, still a lot to go. Thank you. I'm going to add another addition to the agenda. As we've all been watching this weather pattern that's coming up, I can assure you that your Office of Emergency Management and your elected officials have spoken many times about the potential of what's happening, and we have some great updates from you today. I'll start with Mike Burke, our coordinator of Office of Emergency Management. He just finished up a call with the county, so if you can kind of fill us in on what we have there.
Thank you, Mayor. Everybody, obviously, the emergency management is watching the storm very closely, what's been going on. The latest update is that the storm is predicted to enter the Delmarva Peninsula sometime Monday morning as a Category 1 storm, 80-mile-an-hour winds, and then dissipate from there. That was a change in the shift. Earlier in the shift, it was coming up central coast of New Jersey. We still have to be very vigilant and cautious of this because the cone of error is very wide up to New York City. So it may shift again to the north. We have to watch it very carefully and see where it's going. But current models show, the latest one as of this afternoon, is showing it much more south of the Chesapeake Bay. So we should be spared the bulk of that, hopefully, unless it changes. The two are the weather briefing we had with county emergency management officials. There's 2 events. Obviously, Joaquin is one of them. The second event is the majority of rain that's coming in the next 4 or 5 days. We're expected to receive potentially up to 7 inches of rain in Monmouth County over the next 4 to 5 to 6 days. So that's obviously going to present some flooding hazards for the township and the county itself. There is another follow-up call tomorrow with the county OEM officials and the state Office of Emergency Management. Once that call is done at 1 o'clock, we'll have a better idea what the state is planning to do and where they're planning on going with as far as any advisements and things to do with the situation. We will probably have another county conference call sometime tomorrow afternoon and have another briefing as far as that goes.
Great, I appreciate that, Mike.
Thank you.
Also, Jerry Riccardi, our representative from JCP&L and a true friend of Colts Neck through Irene and Sandy and all the things in between. So we're very happy to have you here tonight. As he knows all too well from us telling him every 5 minutes during our really bad emergencies, is that in Colts Neck, unique is when our power goes out, our bathrooms become unusable. So he's been very good making sure Colts Neck's up on the chart to get our power back as quickly as we can. Update from you, sir?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor Schatzel. Thank you to the entire governing body of Colts. First of all, just for the public, these guys already know this, but I was already talking to Committeeman today. Committeeman Engel and I had a long conversation today. During Hurricane Sandy, Committeeman Engel and I spoke 3, 4, sometimes 5 times a day, him looking for information for the residents. During Hurricane Irene, Mayor Schatzel and I talked constantly, all the time we're in communications. And one thing that we learned, one thing we're going to be better with, is I'm going to have better and more information for them. And that means it's going to be better and more information for you. That is our goal, and that is what we are tasked with from the Board of Public Utilities, is getting more accurate information out to you. Telling somebody the power is going to be restored in 7 to 10 days isn't good enough anymore, okay? I want to be able to tell Mike that, you know what, your street, we're going to be working on that Thursday, and so hopefully on October 8th, that's Thursday, your power will be restored. We've updated our website. Has anybody gone onto the Jersey Central Power and Light website? There's an outage map there, so you can see where all the outages that were predicted, like even on a blue sky day like today, well, it's not blue sky, but, you know, it was cloudy, it wasn't really a lot of weather going on. There are probably a few outages going on in the state. There's little triangles there that can identify what the outage is, how many customers we are predicted out. You can see that right at Colts Neck. You can look at New Jersey on the whole, zoom down to Monmouth, zoom right down to Colts Neck to see that. I'm not going to read this whole press release. A couple of the other improvements that we've made since Sandy. As a utility company, we were focused on getting the lights on. That's what we thought was the most important thing. But we found out there are other things that are also important to municipal officials and to the public. One is getting roads open. Okay? When there is a tree down, and there's wires and there are poles involved with that, with the pole being down, with the trees being down, you don't know if that's live or dead. You know, remember the public, we don't even know until we get there and test it. Sometimes you can see a flame, sometimes the wire is just lying there, and it's a killer. We've had our own people in our own company killed by electricity by being careless. So that's the first thing we learned is municipal officials need the roads open, not only to get traffic through, but to get their emergency vehicles through. So that's something that's going to be prioritized. What happens if it's a localized event, I'll work directly with the OEM coordinator and with the mayor and his staff to identify the roads that need to be open first. If it's a full county event, well then the county is going to help to prioritize getting those roads open. For example, 537 is more important to get open first before, let's say, Hyersmill Road. Just to give an example, so we'll get the main roads open first. Something else we've done in an effort to be able to analyze our system to get a better prediction of when the lights will get back on is we've done a partnership with the local electricians union, so people that don't work for Jersey Central Power and Light, private electricians, where they will be added to our first responders group to get boots on the ground to identify what's going on. Because I don't know if I got to get 5 poles to get the power back to your house, or it's just a service down to your house. We have to get boots on the ground quick. We have new apps on our mobile devices where they can take pictures of it, sends it right into us. We input into our computers so we can accurately and quickly get a feeling of how much damage is out there, how long it's going to take to get it repaired, and then get those outage updates out to you. Like Mike said, there are basically two storm events we're looking at. First, there's an event with some wind gusts and some rain that's going to be starting early Friday into Saturday. Okay? We're looking at the potential of 45-mile-an-hour wind gusts with some rain, so it could loosen up some grounds, loosen up some trees. The good thing about Friday is all of our line crews are in. It's going to be happening during the day, so we're all there. And if we see if it's a significant impact, we'll start our crews on a 16 and 8. They work a rotating shift, 16 hours on, 8 hours off. The majority of our crews work during the day. It's safer to work during the day. It's quicker to get work done during the day because you can see what you have out there. So that's what our crews will be doing. And then, the second event, of course, Hurricane Joaquin. There's still a lot of debate on the exact track of the storm. I hope it's what Mike's saying, but Usually the northern edge of the winds are where the most damage comes from, and so that will have an impact on New Jersey. There will be some type of impact. We'll have to see what that will be. So that's what I have. I'd be glad to answer any questions from you, any questions from the audience, and I'll step out to the vestibule if anybody wants to come out and ask me a few questions also.
Just one comment. Sure. When coming across a motor vehicle accident, we all call 911. We can't assume that someone hasn't called. My advice, and Jerry mentioned it, there's apps, there's online. If you have a power outage, there's no way of them knowing unless you call. So, obviously, if you lose power, you can't use your home phone line, but if you have a cell phone, definitely try to go online. So it's not just a place to find out where the power outages are, but a place to report power outages. Because you might have a power outage and say, it's not showing up on the map, that's because they don't know about it. So if you happen to get a power outage, please use the services that they have online, use their 800 number or their mobile app, and you can report your power outage. In fact, not only does it show you the power outage, but also they've updated the site that it can give you an estimated time of when your power should be restored, which is very helpful to know.
And then when it's restored.
And then when it's restored. Right, so you can go out,
Location
take your leave, go get a bite to eat, you can get a text message telling you your power's been restored, and you can come home.
As I said, you have to sign up for that for the text messages. You have to sign up your personal account. It takes about 5 minutes. I've done it. You know, it's just, it's password protected because we want to make sure you're you.
Excellent. Well, it's a pleasure, Jerry. Thank you so much.
Everybody, thank you very much. Hopefully it's all for nothing, but prepare for the worst and pray for the best.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'll stay in. I'll get here for a few minutes if anybody has any questions for me.
Thank you. Item number 4 is a presentation from Tim Anfuso. He's going to talk a little about amending and supplementing Chapter 102 of the Code of the Township of Cold Neck entitled Development Regulations, Article 10, Zoning Requirements for Possible Introduction. Tim, thanks for being here.
Thank you. Good evening. This is a very simple ordinance. Basically, all it does is increase the building height in the B1 business zone from 35 feet, 2.5 stories, to 45 feet, 3.5 stories. The reason why the long-range planning committee recommended it is because lately there's been a current shift in demand for our office space in our business district. Traditionally, it was professional office, it was limited retail, medical office is becoming more and more proficient. The problem with medical offices in our ordinance is medical requires a little bit more parking than standard office, professional office, and retail uses. A medical office requires one space for every 200 square feet of floor area. Check that. Business office and retail requires one space for every 200 square feet of floor area. Medical office, you need one space for every 150 square feet of floor area. As a result, most of our shopping centers do not have the additional parking required for any medical use within them. The planning board has recently granted more and more variances allowing the deficient parking for medical uses to occur within a shopping center. So the thought was, let's add some design flexibility while maintaining our FAR, maximum building size in terms of square feet and lot coverage, by reducing the size of the footprint, encouraging taller buildings, thus freeing up some land area and coverage so they can provide additional parking for medical uses, and hopefully eliminate the use of variances.
I just have a few things. So as we go up, and I know this was talked about in long-range planning, of course, the fire department's involvement with that becomes an issue. And make sure that the equipment, which we do have, to get up to that height. Secondly is for the first aid squad, as soon as we go up, we need to worry about that. Will that prompt most buildings, if they go that high, for elevators?
Well, any two-story building we have right now with medical offices have elevators right to it. That's the reason why Colts Neck Business Park, where family practices, they have an elevator. The back building, in Winston Family Square, they have the elevator to do all the same thing with the orchard. So by going to the third floor, although I think it's a building requirement that you need an elevator to get the medical use in there, it's going to have it anyway.
Do we have the capability of adding the size elevator for structure? Because
I think that's building zip code for a medical use going into it.
can you check on that for me?
I'll check on it.
Because one of the things that been doing that field for a long time is it's a continual problem. So
Something I would never think of.
especially with a serious patient, it becomes quite an issue. So that would be important to me. The other one is, has long range spoken about maybe taking that formula of the square footage and the parking spaces and addressing that? Because I particularly think that it's too stringent of a requirement right now. So while we have a building that may be looking for, as you can tell from your variances, that they would like to use their existing building for medical, I'm not sure how many more buildings we're going to have built.
He's talking about the FAO parking spot issue.
I know we still have two large lots, the 4-acre lot on 34 and the 14-acre lot next to that. So maybe that will be some new buildings, well, to take advantage of this to go higher, but I'm thinking of our existing
Yeah,
buildings.
more than that, because if you look at the northeast quadrant of Route 34, there's Rock's got a lot of property, Rock's property is undeveloped, and you have a couple office buildings, and all the way up to the north, that's all undeveloped. And same thing when you look at the southeast quadrant, Martin Track, Cedars Track, and then the Towers Track, all of those would be able to take advantage of it.
You know, the reality is, it's only 25% more stringent at 150 versus 200 square footage per space. And, you know, anybody goes to the doctor, the stage every 15 minutes, there's somebody coming in, the person, you know, most medical offices, I don't know about who you guys go to, but I never get the appointment in and out as supposed to be. So there's 6 times as many people waiting for their appointments as you would have in a usual office spot things. I don't know that we really want to go that. And also keep in mind that a lot of those variants that came in were fairly built out, as they were, fully built out, fully locked.
Well, that's what we're trying to stop being fairly built out. If you've got X amount of property and you can build, I'll give you 15,000, instead of making 2,7,500 foot places, you could go 3,000-5,000 and you could have more parking. That's the whole idea of doing that.
But I'm looking for the existing building.
Yeah, we can talk about it.
Sure.
Yeah, I'll talk about the long range
Well,
plan.
we haven't considered it all. It's not
The
something
the other concern is, can existing buildings now go from 1 to 3 stories?
Well, good question. Most of them probably can't, there's 2 limitations. Newer construction that was built are already at that 15% FAR, and you exceed that. The other component is our septic system. 16,000 square feet is a magic number in this town, because that's the most amount of commercial space you get before you go into a package on the commercial septic system. Going 3 stories, if they had the additional FAR available to do that, then they're going to have to do the cost benefit analysis as it were going for a package.
But they're not going to have any more, they're not going to be entitled to any more floor area ratio than the size of property they have. Whether they decide to build it 1 story, 2 stories, or 3 stories, that's zero.
I think what the mayor's concern is that that's not, you know, but that doesn't, maybe should be tied to a ratio for impervious coverage, because, you know, the idea is not just to be able to build more building in the same impervious coverage space, you want to gain something if you're going up, right?
Well, the existing buildings, if they haven't already gone for a parking variance, most of them have, to be honest.
Yeah, they're going on a hardship, because they, I can't rent the place, but I can rent it to a doctor.
They demonstrate that the unique mixture of uses that they have, having the availability where they can post the additional parking that's required.
Right, yeah, that's what the variance process is for. I mean, because as I was discussing with the mayor a little bit earlier, you know, in a building with, you know, 4 leasable spaces, if you have 4 doctor's office, it's much different than if you have 1 doctor's office and 3 minimally impacted retail establishments. So it really depends. Each situation has to be looked at on a case-by-case basis to see whether it's going to work for that particular property.
But this won't be a case-by-case basis, that if you're changing the orders, you'll be limited.
No, but this is dealing with an issue that would occur almost exclusively with new construction, maybe 1 or 2.
Redevelopment or reconstruction.
Yeah, it's so the mayor's concern was of the people with existing buildings, how can we help them out? And all I'm suggesting is the variance process has been used fairly well, I think, in more recent time to assist those people who have that proper mix of usages, that they're not overburdening their parking.
Have all, on that note, have all variances been approved for all properties they've asked?
Somebody don't want to.
Now, there's like 10 of them that we've granted. I don't know if we've actually denied them or not. You know, they might have not gotten to the extent that they wanted to, and the board might have limited the amount of medical use, but I don't think any of them are.
Well, I just think to the mayor's suggestion, I think that's something, you know, Tim, that you may want to take back. Just the intent is.
Because we pretty much changed it already for the variance process, but the problem is that these business owners are spending thousands of dollars in 6, 7, 8, 9 months to get.
I'll tell you what your
get
bigger problem is if you do what you want to do.
done. Right.
The problem is people are running out of parking, they'll start parking on adjacent properties, and then you'll have people knocking at your door complaining about, from other businesses, adjacent businesses complaining about people parking.
But it is,
Well, that's part of my concern. You're supposed to have shared parking, that's the whole concept.
yes, yes, but I don't think it's a problem in town.
I don't think so either, and I do know that, I think
If you manage it.
if the problem is, looking at the medical office space, then I think we need to take a more holistic approach and look at not only new buildings, but also existing buildings.
So
Unintended.
you'll continue that discussion for us.
Question is, do you want to go ahead with this as is, or do you want me to bring it?
They're mutually exclusive, there's no reason not to do this.
No, I think it's just,
I agree.
I agree too. But I would definitely like to.
No, I'll bring it up and get you that tomorrow.
Thank you.
Since on that, if you eliminate 1,000 square feet of footprint by going up, you pick up, what, 5 spots? But that 5 spots on the delta to 150 is really 5 times 4, so it's really a 20 spot change.
The problem is, most times they come in, say Tim calculates, they need 110 parking places, and there's no way they can get it. They can get away with, we might grant with 196, something like that, because we'll look at it and say, well, they've got this outfit that's in there from 7 in the morning till 5 in the afternoon, and this one's changed. Usually when we do grant it, it's because we've seen, they've demonstrated why they can get away with that. I mean, there's places that never fill out.
I don't have a problem with it, but I'm just, what we don't want to encourage is overdevelopment, because you still have the same impervious coverage parameters. You're not, I'm always suggesting that if you go up a third story, there should be a 5% additional requirement. I've seen some towns have when you go, very foot you go up, you have to have the 2 foot, an extra 2 feet of buffer or something between buildings.
You can increase the setbacks.
They increase the setback, so you then, instead of building, so here's the problem. What you don't want in a town like this, I'm really trying to get off the recharge, right? You don't want to continue with all of these lots still having a 50 or 60 or 20% coverage, whatever it is. So what's going to happen is, any developer that comes in is going to see this and say, okay, I'm going to keep the same impervious coverage. I'm going to black out as much as I can and go up as high as I can. It's not encouraging any additional open space. It's not encouraging that particular use. What it's saying is that it's not
Anybody more parking is what it does.
and this isn't parochial to medical offices. Huh? No. This is in response to a request by
Okay,
medical
yeah.
offices.
Now,
They're changing the ordinances. I can put in whatever I want. I can go 3 stories.
Yes.
I was reading an article yesterday, and I got to bring it over to you. They've got this new concrete house, where the water goes right through it.
And then that,
They
they've
got it for
been using that for a long time.
Does this change anything with sprinkler requirements because of the height now?
Unless the building, subcode is put in, and that's not an reason for
Very different situation with that extra floor from a fire perspective. That's the
Third floor.
It is. It's a whole other
Well,
staircase.
the building requirements, the fire subcode official and the building subcode official will make sure those compliance with the codes.
Like you just take a look at that to the sprinkler with square footage and all that. I just don't have that in my memory, what prompts it to have a sprinkler system. So I think
Can I
that's
ask one other question, just because I don't, I try to think of smart guys coming in or women coming in and saying, what can I do with this? For example, if this building height requirement, we talk about stories, but this means somebody could put up a 45 tall box, they can put a Home Depot on.
Yeah, in theory, it could go to 45 feet.
Right.
And it could be a 2-story or 1-story. If you look at Chase Bank, that's a 45-foot 1-story building. Yeah,
how high is that? I'm sorry.
35 feet.
35.
So, I don't, you guys that should have Home Depot on the street?
No.
Oh, we already predicted that.
I understand, but my point is, that there's a lot of stuff out there that may, you just have to think about all this stuff and the usage change.
What happens if somebody, if they want to build a warehouse on part of it?
Hmm?
If if somebody wanted to take and build a warehouse.
Yeah, now you go 35 feet, but that's right, it would change, now you go 45 feet, so that's one for them. We get a free span, 45 feet tall, that you can see from the tree line.
14 acre lot.
Yeah, that's a big use variance.
Yeah, it's not really used.
But if somebody wanted to put up a one-story retail building that was like a warehouse type, or that had a mixture of tenants and building, like a typical strip mall supermarket, they could do 45 feet. Yeah. Or a two-story office building could have a peak roof on it, under 45 feet.
When you drive around, just look around and see what 45 feet is. It's a lot taller than you think it is.
It's the Colts Neck Hotel. You know, it's 3 stories, 45 feet.
Yeah, that's down.
You know about the Colts Neck Inn Hotel?
Yeah.
India, that's in a hole. That's
Well, that's, but if you look at that building, that's.
built in a grade.
Exactly what we're looking at.
It's back to the flag of Trump.
Yeah, how tall is the flag? Well, I just think about it a little bit harder, maybe. So maybe we'll put it on for a first meeting and discuss it, and we can all think about it between now and then. Just think about the bad thing that came out of this before we decide we want to go 45.
I agree.
And you could also make it as a, you could make it as a use variance or a conditional use, right? Could you change it for the height, that if they had a medical office, they could go 45 feet instead of 35?
I don't know if you really want to make a medical use a conditional use.
Think a little more
Because
about
then you're in front of the zoning board if you violate any of the conditional use conditions. Because you can't make, there would have to be the use in there that's a conditional use, not the building design or.
Is assisted living or docking blocks permitted in those zones?
Assisted living only allowed to be 1A zones.
Docking, urgent care place? Docking blocks, right?
If it falls under regular medical use, yeah, if it falls under a hospital, then we don't allow hospital uses either.
We still stop a hospital use, that's a beneficial use.
Well, that is a permitted use.
We're surrounded by hospitals, nobody's gonna, they're shutting hospitals down, nobody's opening hospitals.
I'm not worried about the acute care facility.
There's medical care when you go for this house.
It's not acute care facilities, it's medical office space.
Okay, I guess move forward, but it looks like there's gonna be a little more discussion after the first reading.
And sorry to burn the record, but I just want you to think about this because the world changed 3 years ago on the time of application. So somebody comes in, we pass this ordinance, we decide we're going to 45 feet, and some smart developer comes in and figures out a way to bring in something that's not attractive or not what we want to do. You can no longer change the ordinance before the approval gets done to beat that. If the ordinance is passed, and the person comes in that day, you're out of luck.
So what we've done in the past in these situations is why don't we each take the task of pros and cons before he does this for introduction and say we get it to 10 within a week.
I don't think the variance process is all that like this. You know, if somebody's got to come in and ask for permission, it's better than doing something that we're not going to like.
Sure, but then it gives the power to the zoning board rather than the planning.
Not necessarily.
You got something against the zoning board?
Just people that.
So that's what we're gonna do, sir, is we'll get a memo together with the pros and cons.
I look forward to your comments.
Great, wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
You're welcome to stay with us. Item number 5, capital ordinance 2015-14, capital ordinance, reappropriating $11,920, not needed for the original purpose in order to finance the cost of basketball courts refurbishment authorized in and by the Township of Colts Neck in the County of Monmouth, New Jersey. So this is just shifting some money that we had set aside for one project and going to another project there.
What's the
2000, yes, this was a 2009-10 budget allocation that we're moving over since there's a greater need to get these courts done. This is first reading by title. Any comments from the committee?
No.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Deputy Mayor Wargo?
Yes.
Mayor Mandel?
Yes.
Mayor Fitzgerald?
Yes, just one caveat. Did it come from a fund that is allowed to be expended in this way? There's no restriction on that other fund? You know, sometimes when you do the capital, you have bonding, you have certain limitations on what you can use it for.
Well, this included recreation
Right.
improvements and playgrounds and buildings, so I think that would be fine.
So with that, yes. Which actually does.
Mayor
Also, even
Mayor
that
Jackson.
tennis courts.
Yes.
Mayor Jackson?
Yes.
Yes, okay.
Set public hearing October 14, 2015. Item number 6, resolution 2015-118, approval to submit a grant application, execute a grant contract with New Jersey Department of Transportation for the fiscal year 2016 New Jersey Department of Transportation Municipal Aid Road Program improvements to 5 Points Road Phase 1. So this is a grant that we apply for each year. We evaluate which road we think is in the greatest need and has the best chance of getting the grant from the state. And we've chosen 5 Point Road. Comments, gentlemen? Motion? Roll call, please.
Deputy Mayor Longo?
Yes.
Mayor Mangle?
Yes.
Mayor Fitzgerald?
Yes.
Mayor McNabb?
Yes.
Mayor Chaplin?
Yes, resolution 2015-119, resolution approving and authorizing the execution of a collective bargaining agreement between the Coleston Township Communication Workers of America, Local 1075, and the Township of Coleston, New Jersey. This is for a period of January 2015 to 2017. So as you may recall, we have 3 unions in the township. This was the last contract to get settled. I'm happy to report that it's finally done. Just some summary of the agreement. It's a 3-year contract. So go back to January through December 31st, 17. It's a 2% salary increase for each year for our public works employees. Longevity clause has been removed from the contract moving forward. There's no increase in sick leave or vacation time. This limits the amount of time for workers' compensation claim with full pay from 2 years to 1 year and contains a no strike pledge. So I do appreciate the final meeting, which I was part of with the public works employees, and to get that done. So now all 3 contracts are complete. Comments?
Good. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Just kudos to the mayor on this one, because these contract negotiations were hung up. They were in mediation. There was disputes that didn't look like they were going to get resolved, and he took it upon himself to go meet with the employees directly, and he was able to work out a compromise that was satisfactory to both sides, and the ultimate vote was unanimous by the employees. So he did a good job of getting this done without the town having to go and expend a lot of money going through additional mediation processes. It would have been expensive, and turned out to be a really good result.
Appreciate that. 20-minute meeting. It's good. It's good meeting. Any other comments?
On the longevity, Mayor,
Yes.
as you know, that was one of my pet peeves across the board in every contract that we have, and we've marched, I think, in the right direction, and we're almost there on cutting out the longevity as part of the, equation, because I always view that as a hidden raise, which is what it is. If you stick around for a year, you get a longevity thing, and you also get 2%, that's not 2% raise. It's 2% plus longevity. So I appreciate the fact that you've attended to that. I can't wait till we actually encourage people who are out on the workers' compensation thing to come back to work on not paying them full time.
Absolutely. Yes.
That'll be a great leap and actually join the rest of the world.
Agree with that. If there's no other comments, motion to approve?
Move.
Second. Roll call, please.
Deputy Mayor Longo?
Yes.
Mayor Mangle?
Yes.
Mayor Fitzgerald?
Yes.
Mayor McNabb?
Yes.
Mayor Chaplin?
Yes, item number 8 is the consent agenda with 2 items, resolution 2015-120, authorizing refund of tax overpayment, and resolution 2015-121, resolution authorizing additional council fees for the legal services related to COA, or the Affordable Housing within Colts Neck. That amount is $7,500. As we've discussed on that, there's been movement on COA, and Commitment Mac now will cover that. Comments? Motion, please.
Move.
Just a short explanation, Mayor, from
Want to do now or committee report?
whatever the one that's done.
I need a second.
Second.
A roll call, please.
Deputy Mayor Longo?
Yes.
Mayor Mangle?
Yes.
Mayor Fitzgerald?
Yes.
Mayor McNabb?
Yes.
Mayor Chaplin?
Yes. Item number 9, administrative reports. Administrative reports.
19, 2015 at Foxville Recreation Center. And from 6 to 10 p.m. they're looking for permission from the Township Committee to extend the park hours to 10:30 to give guests time to exit the park, and also permission to serve beer. They have obviously understand the need for the necessary permits and insurance.
Great. Please throw the other one on there too, if you'd like.
Sure. The second item is a Cold Snack PTO holding a fall parent social, also at Foxville Park, 10/23, October 23rd, 7 to 11 p.m. And they too are seeking approval to serve alcohol at the event and also understand the necessary insurance and permitting.
Great, if you could just get back to both of them, that the park closes at 11 o'clock. So their guests need to be, so the Lions Club are fine, they're looking to 10:30, they're in good shape there. The PTO needs to realize that they need to, at 10:30, really close it down and say thank you for coming, so by 11 o'clock the gate gets shut. Any other comments from the committee?
The insurance certificates were in our package, they've already been provided.
Yeah. Yeah, and also I think both of these organizations have run these programs in the past without any problem, at least that I know of.
Do you need a motion?
Yes.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Great, thank you. Opposed? Okay. Item number 10, motion to approve the vouchers.
Mayor, I went through the vouchers, totaling $2,985,904.93. I did pull two vouchers out, which Kathleen's going to check on. I just want to make sure they were not duplicative. There was $225 to MM Publishing, which looks like for the flu shots, but I just want to make sure there were actually two ads placed, not just one. Other than that, everything seems to be in order.
Great, motion then to approve the vouchers.
Move.
Second, roll call please.
Deputy Mayor Underground,
Yes.
Mayor Nahal,
Yes.
Mayor Fitzgerald,
Yes.
Mayor McEnroe,
Yes, except to abstain for schools.
Mayor Shelton,
Yes. Township committee reports. Michael, you want to start us off?
I'd like to, but I don't have any report.
Wow.
I'll start off with COA because that did come up in our consent agenda as well. So the COA litigation is active and ongoing, hence the need for additional expenditure by the town for legal services. We've been meeting fairly frequently. In fact, we meet again Monday, the 6th, Tuesday. We meet again on Tuesday to approve a plan to be submitted to the court. A lot going on. We hopefully our plan is going to set forth a proposed number for affordable housing units in town. We're hopeful that the court will accept our proposal ultimately. We have professionals, thank God, because it's very complicated, that deal with how these units are calculated, taking into consideration many different factors, including open space, the fact that we have well septic, agricultural uses, many different factors. So obviously we're hoping to minimize our exposure, but to do what is legally required. So maybe by next year sometime we'll have an idea where we stand after all the municipalities submit their plans to the court. There's a special master involved that are reviewing all the plans, and in any case, that's the hope. Hopefully we have some idea next year where we actually stand. That's kind of it for COA. I have one letter that I'm going to kind of to paraphrase for confidentiality reasons, but it's a nice letter and it should be shared, I think. It's from an individual addressed to Chief Kevin Sorter of the Police Department. The purpose of this letter is to compliment one of your officers. My husband owns a business in town. On July 15th, she received a call at work from her husband because he was not feeling well. Recently, he had been dealing with medical issues. She was at work in East Brunswick and slightly panicked when she got the call. Her co-workers helped her to contact the Cold Lake Police Department so that somebody could go and check on him. She received a call back from Officer DeVito. He let her know that he was at the place of business assisting her husband. She was driven to Cold Lake by a co-worker. She continued to receive phone calls from Officer DeVito with updates on how her husband was doing, that EMTs were there evaluating and taking care of him. When she arrived in Cold Lake, she was able to meet Officer DeVito, who acted in a calm, professional manner throughout the ordeal. She was extremely grateful to Officer DeVito for his assistance. The service Officer DeVito provided to her husband may sound routine to a first responder, but to her it meant so much more, and she wanted to recognize him for his care and professionalism. She thinks Cold Neck is lucky to have him. So, nice letter. We don't get that many compliments. Nice to hear them every now and again.
Would you just, for the sake of the public, let us know which?
I don't know. I'm going to assume it's Danny because she referred to him as officer, not sergeant, but I don't know for sure.
They're both great.
They're all very good. I have to correct each. Yes, but it conceivably it could have been either one.
That came directly to the department, so it's part of his file.
Correct. That came to the chief.
There was a question, there was a question.
I was Christian, and there you go. So, but regardless, both the Vito brothers are fine officers.
Thank you. Jared?
No reports tonight, Mr. Mayor.
Tom?
I really don't have any reports as far as committees went. Just a couple of things for people, if we do see it circling. A lot of you people will probably have new generators that never used them before, except for watching them start up and everything. Buy yourselves a couple quarts of extra oil, because the generators are really useful, especially natural gas. They will burn oil even though they're brand new, because they're running at such a high speed and they're such small engines. They don't hold much. So you ought to think about at least checking it once a day if you can, if it's on for a day or so.
They don't see it enough for about half a dozen quarts.
You'd be surprised, they're brand new, but these engines run so high and they're just all the time at top speed that you want to check the oil and get 2 or 3 quarts and just have it. It's not going to go bad. Other than that, hopefully we won't have any problems.
Beth, that might be something to add to our website, a little unique to Cold Stack, where you can manage generators that we have. Absolutely. So my own report was talked about most tonight about the upcoming storm. We will have comfort stations at our 3 locations, or 2 firehouses and first aid spot if needed. And the best way for us to get information out to the public is to have you sign up on our Swift 911 or reverse 911 system. If you don't have that done, please see us after the meeting and we'll direct you. I believe we still have some forms right inside that we might be able to get you, or at least get you to the website to go ahead and sign up right on there, which is great. With that, I will go to comments from the public. Vince?
Yes, a few things. First of all, your application on 5 Point Road, I think is an excellent choice. I was wondering, I don't know whether it's done, but whether it would make sense to contact Howell Township and ask if they would be interested in doing a letter of resolution of support, because the road actually is more of a benefit to residents of Howell than Colts Neck. It's really a shared use, and it was something that, you don't get involved in just doing a resolution or letter, but I think it is something that really does benefit Howell for that road to be well maintained and paved. So that might be something worth reaching out and asking if they do. Good. Secondly, your discussion about possible changes in ordinance regarding the business zone. The question I would have, the thing I perhaps would do first is you said you've done 9 or 10 different variances and different types, would be to do a survey, take a period of, to see how well that has worked, if they have indeed been allowed a more intensive use, whether or not parking has worked that way. So it'll give you an idea whether it's something that you actually could change your standard and have it work, or whether you want to go in a different direction. I do appreciate the idea, the virtues of going up an extra story. I see both sides of it. So, but sometimes doing nothing and surveying before you take an action may be the better course. Last I wanted to mention, I was here, came in to pick up a copy of the agenda, and when Tom Frank was just finishing up a conference call with the county health officer, the health officer of the county, talking about all the different things they're doing compared to the school. So there's another example of your professionals really being on top of things. So that's all for me.
Thank you. Other comments? Mike?
Is there a cost for generating a Swift 911? And I would imagine that's considered less than doing a mail. storm, just as far as getting regular information out, it's probably considerably less than roughly $1,500 per month.
It matters how many times we do. So it costs us about $500 to go ahead and do that. We reverse 911, and obviously there's a maintenance fee to that. It's not a cheap system. But obviously we only use it for true emergencies where it's time.
And is it also dependent
A
on?
mailing's about, with printing, about $1,200 to $1,800.
Is the cost increase with the Swift 911 for the number of users, or is it a flat fee?
It's number of users, but we don't, I think the next one is 10,000 or so. So we're not going to get to the next level.
And do we know roughly the percentage of the township that is on the Swift?
I don't.
Because I'm online, I get emails and I get the phone calls.
Emails, by the way, don't cost us anything to send. So we send out, so for instance, the stolen cars that we had, we didn't send out a voicemail, we sent out an email on that. So we encourage everybody to get on both the email and the text messages and the voicemails. So, and we really only want to use the voice for large emergencies.
Right. Okay. And then secondly is, I believe this is the third quarter, or the beginning of the third quarter of the energy aggregation program. Is there any consideration having a consultant come back in and give us an idea on electrical rates? With oil being as depressed as it has been for the year, the cost to generate energy has declined, so the 9.2 cents per generation may actually be less competitive now than it was before.
I think we can get a summary from them, so we'll get that report.
It doesn't change as much. It's like the bidding on that, for the BPU rules is a 3-year rolling. So there would have to be a dramatic change in the price of oil for there to be a change in it. And you'd be surprised how little of it is produced using oil. The natural gas is so much cheaper that they've switched over that for some period of time. And so we'll take a look at it, but don't forget we have that clause in there that if their rate, if the JCP&L default rate drops below our current rate, we take everybody out of the program. So we have something in there that, as far as I'm concerned, is no other town has in the aggregation program in the state of New Jersey.
And is that the consultant's responsibility
Yeah.
to trigger?
And it is.
Thank you.
But I will check.
Thanks. Jeff?
Yes, thank you, Jim. Jeff Sauter, 41 Ann Street, Cold Snack. Just on the roads, Vince, your comment on how a township getting maybe their support is probably a really good idea, because I think a lot of people do probably travel on that road that live in that town that I noticed. But on the roads issue itself, on May 13th, 2015, the town committee, you guys brought in our Public Works Director, Ed Thompson, and Township Engineer, Glenn Gerken, and had pretty extensive conversation on roads and trying, I guess, come up with a game plan from the can being kicked down the road, which I know I've said that before to you guys. But it was a good conversation that you guys had. And then you followed it up on May 27th with another, the May 27th meeting, with another pretty good discussion, a little follow-up discussion. But since then, other than the discussion with the grant, applying for this DOT grant, which you approved tonight, you guys have been pretty silent on the issue. In the last 2 meetings that I brought it up, especially the last one, you kind of alluded to something going on with the police department, and you might need to redirect some funds for there. Can you share with the public, just generally, since the public's got to foot the bill here, what's generally going on with the police department or wherever that you think, and I say just very generally, because I know you guys are probably still hammering out the details, on where these funds maybe need to be redirected. Thank you.
So, like I said last time, the police department, the building itself, has some issues. It has for some time. They need to be dealt with, both from an environmental and practical perspective. It's an old building, most of it is anyway. The old barracks section of it is pretty old. And for anybody that's been in there knows it's pretty old and not terribly functional anymore. So we tasked an architect with coming up with some proposals for us. And coincidentally, we met with him to go over the proposals, and we had some follow-up questions for him about some other ideas that we had. And to tie it in with the roads, before we commit funds to the roads, we need to know definitively how much of that bond money we need to commit to the police department. Because we are fairly well committed to doing something to the police building to address the concerns that we have. We just don't know the amount of money yet because we just haven't gotten where we need to be with the architect yet. I asked him how long for the additional responses today. He told us a couple of weeks. So, ideally, by next spring, you'll see road work being done because we'll know how much funds we have available for roads. That's kind of where we are right now. We're trying to juggle. We had a bond ordinance that bid 3.4.
It is, that's what we could borrow.
Right, so we have the ability to borrow, in this last bond ordinance, I think 3.5 billion. We just need to know, before we start spending money on roads and going out and bid on roads, we need to know where we are with the police station. And practically, you're coming into the winter months anyway, we're not going to be paving anyhow. Paving wouldn't be done for the spring. So, I believe come springtime, we'll be in a position to do that.
Is that just like what we call like a refurbish? Are they really going to go in and have to do a lot of refurbishing, like really gutting it? That type of.
Don't know yet is the answer because we have a couple different proposals and ideas and thoughts that have been kicked around, and we have some plans, we have some alternative plans, and we asked the architect to come back with something else also for us. Just another idea that came up today. So when we have something that we think is viable, we'll present it to the public, and you'll have the ability to comment on it.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, Debbie Evankow. Is there any grant money left for Laird Road?
For paving?
For paving?
I don't believe so.
Okay. Oh, we just had an overturn today and on Laird, and that whole section of the road is really eaten up. It's been patched, but it's easy to get your track in there and just.
Phase 2. The phase 2?
Yeah, phase 2 is what phase 2.
Right.
Yes, that has been done. It's going to
It's going to be no additional money, but it's going to be done.
But there is money from an old grant, right?
It's not, that grant hasn't been fulfilled yet
Oh.
by the state. But it will be. That was from last time that we got that.
Yeah, the last one.
Yes.
It's a match.
It is a match. And we funded the other part of the match.
It's on the other.
See no other comments? I will go to item number 13, Resolution 2015-122, executive sessions. Motion?